can zoom in there. All right, hopefully. That's good. Hope everybody can do that. Mic's on, hot. Welcome, YouTube. All right. We're live on YouTube. That's mic hot. My mic should be hot. Let me see. Yep, my mic's hot. All right, let me check. We're almost ready to get this podcast started. You know, technically, although
around the world, I'm in Thailand right now.
All right. Technically, I think we've done a pretty good job technically lately.
Japan whiskey lovers. I'm over into Japan.
All right, I'm going to check the YouTube. Say hi to everybody on YouTube. Make sure everything's happening.
My Asia group.
Let's see. Oh, we're live, and I can click it. This is end of season 5. All right. I don't know why it's not full screen.
I think it's so cool that I got asked to be part of a lot of these world whiskey groups. I don't know how it got started, but it was like one a month started coming in here.
See if it's
about
I don't know why it's not full screen. All right.
I think when I met that big group over at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, a bunch of them came up to me.
Yeah, from Wisco?
No, I was talking about the ones from Japan.
Oh,
that came up to me, and I signed a couple of their shirts and got some pictures with them.
And they knew you?
Yeah,
from the
they do our podcast.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. And then those guys from Australia, remember the ones that come and got wanted to get T-shirts and all, and we couldn't get them to them, but we managed to get them to them later.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I remember them. But hopefully this bourbon podcast does the same thing. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. It looked like we're live, so hopefully it does what it does. I put the chat in. We have one person here so far. It looks like somehow I might have maybe I screwed up. Who knows? And I was just what would you say? Doing such a good job technically, and then nope, there's some people coming on. Okay, it's just good to see everybody.
Right. John, cheers. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, John Ritt's here. I'm going to see John Ritt this Saturday, right, John? That's or actually Sunday. That's
You know what? It is bourbon time.
Yeah, John says that's a bourbon bunker, Nash.
It sure is, Joe.
Yep. I'll be monitoring on.
I'm gonna start this podcast out. It's been a couple of long for me, and I'm glad to be back on the podcast here. And finally, in my whiskey room.
Yeah, I mean, you've been building this whiskey room for weeks. That's one thing. I mean, a year, maybe a year. Yeah. Last year you were putting up the shelves and you got those up, and then your wife has really good taste in bourbon curtains and wallpaper and everything that you're putting.
Found the wallpaper for me.
Yep.
Wallpaper.
Yeah.
Which looks like a rick house.
Yeah, and it's fantastic, and I've been getting on you. Now I know that you didn't do the permanent wiring for this. I get it. I totally get. I don't know if I have permanent.
Hey, it hooked up really easy to the Wi-Fi right over here.
Okay, so you're not stretching stuff across or anything like that.
No.
Now, are you on your computer or your phone?
Computer. Yeah, I got the phone right here, so I'm monitoring everything. Yeah.
So you're going to be.
I told you I was going to bring the computer in here and do it right.
Yeah, I actually think that if there was an atomic bomb, the bourbon would protect you.
I think so.
Oh, it might explode all over you, but at least you'll.
Hey, I don't think so because those shadows are stout, my friend.
So, anyways.
They are bomb proof.
So yeah, and but everybody, feel free to comment on that background because honestly, it's a pretty exciting, amazing background at the moment. I know that I think
There is some amazing bourbons and whiskeys and ryes behind me and all around me, all the way from the early 50s to the current year.
so. I've got a bunch of
I'm
stuff.
not quite so current as that, though.
Yeah, that is pretty damn current, isn't it? Let me go get the whiskey thief. I know where that is.
I think I do have that malted rye back in my bunker.
No, that's the sherry finish.
That's the sugar bit. No, I don't have that one.
That was released let's see. Oh, yeah, that was released 2 weeks ago on a Thursday. So that was a distillery only release, and it's got the sherry finish, the malted rye. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that because we did go to New Riff, and then we also went to Whiskey Thief, which I got right here, and you've got yours right there.
We'll get you a little pour of something.
Get my.
Because we got before we get this thing started.
So I got some cool stuff here for New Riff. After coming off a New Riff, I've got this sample of their #1 batch malt whiskey, sour mash single malt whiskey. Okay, it's the single malt that they just released the second batch today. But I got the first batch right there for sampling, so I got that. But I also have, and this is what's going in my thing, is I got our Kentucky Bourbon Festival sample that me and CT thieved from the barrel before it was bottled, and I still have it. Now, Jay Ersman, when he
how cool is that?
yeah, and Jay Ersman, before when he was at Kentucky Bourbon Festival last year, when we first met him, he tried our pick because our pick was for sale at the.
Here's Walker.
Yeah, excellent. Our pick was for sale. Hey, Walker, if you can monitor the YouTube tonight, that would be greatly appreciated. But before it was for sale at the Bourbon Festival and at the social media bar, and he tasted our pick, said it was pretty good. I came home with that bottle, and I decantered it, and then I learned that I don't ever want to decanter anything because I swear to God I had that whole bottle. I kept hitting it in the decanter. Probably within 10 days that bottle was gone, and it was a really good pick. I really loved it. One thing I've been, that's kind of cool. And so what I want to do before we get the podcast started, because all that stuff for everybody out there in Facebook and on YouTube, we are the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and we have some sponsors. And when we take on a sponsor, we take on the sponsor based off of how much. We don't just take on anybody as a sponsor. We're talking about we get to know the people. We have to we have to love their whiskey. We're on this podcast. Everybody has different palates and everything. We understand it. Our job is to tell you what we think of the whiskey, but we also know what we think isn't always what somebody else thinks. And just because we think one way or you think one way, doesn't make anybody better or worse. It's just personally, whiskey's your thing. But when it comes to the people who make it, that's who we try and pick. So, our #1 sponsor, our newest sponsor now, who is supporting us financially and in every way, is Whiskey Thief Distillery. And Whiskey Thief is really unique because we've been making we put ourselves on YouTube through reels, and when we were doing reels, Hannah, I always try and say, oh, you went green, Hannah, down at Whiskey Thief, we have a reel that had 32 million views to promote Whiskey Thief Distillery, which at the time was Three Boys Farm and Distillery. They announced their name change on our podcast. We met Walter Zausch, and at the time, Hunter was down there, and I actually have a bottle signed by Hunter Coffee right here. It's one of the first bottles I ever bottled down there. It's a great experience. Whiskey Thief is a great experience. What it is you walk in, the tour is $30, but you don't have to take the tour, but you can go back and taste. They give you the tour. They have food trucks there. They have a patio where you can go out and with fire pits, and you can smoke cigars, and you can just relax, grab some food, relax. But overall, they've got 5 barrels that they will thief from, and you can choose which one you think is the best. And each one gets thiefed for samples, and then if you like one, you could purchase a bottle. You don't get to go on a barrel pick at Jim Beam with Freddie No, or you don't get to go on a barrel pick at Wilderness Trail with Macaulay. It's not that experience. If you're not buying a barrel, is an expensive experience. It can be $150, $200, at least $100. So this experience, you get there for $30, and you get to taste the barrels as much as you want, and then you can fill a bottle, whether it's a 750 or this 375. I mean, the 375 makes total sense. You walk out there with what you tasted, and this is something you could probably, or at least as a podcaster, I could probably get it. So Whiskey Thief Distilling has become our sponsor, and we're supporting them. Our other sponsors, our sponsor for the beginning at the start, the Spirit of French Lick, the Spirit of French Lick in French Lick, Indiana. They have double pot distilled whiskey. Alan Bishop, for the longest time, was the master distiller. His stuff is still there. Super Nash is showing you that was our first Dalton pick, and this right here is our second Dalton pick that he's just waiting to get a hold of, along with our Lillian Sinclair, which is the brand launch of Alan Bishop's. It's the last 2 barrels that Alan picked. I was with Alan the last time he was at the Spirit of French Lick, and we picked these barrels. They're spectacular. He knew where to go. He knew where to pick it. Thank you, Super Nash, who gave us a path to purchasing this barrel. And
much appreciated and much welcome.
So if anybody's interested in this particular, we have a way to get them. Food is amazing at Whiskey Thief. Oh, that was Walker. Walker is now on YouTube. Thank you, Walker, for all that you do. Yes, the food is amazing at Whiskey Thief. And the other aspect is just contact me or contact Super Nash on how you can get your hands on
Absolutely
some of this great whiskey. But tonight is the other thing is that Alan Bishop has moved on to Old Homestead Distillery, right down the road at Potoka Lake, and he is another sponsor of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. He does If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything podcast, One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, and then also there's another one that he does, but you can look for Alan Bishop. He Distillers Talk. He's on Distillers Talk podcast. I mean, there's so much that Alan does. He's a great distiller, and he shares information. You've got to. I would check out If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. It's a spirits podcast with spirits on both ends. Yep. And then the last one, Rosewood Bourbons and Ryes. Rosewood, that's Jason Giles out of Houston, Texas. Jason is a great guy. He got this brand. The label and the brand is spectacularly similar to what Chicken Cock has done. He's done this with Rosewood Bourbon, but he basically is distilling at the Bardstown Bourbon Company, and then he's also purchased Indiana and Kentucky whiskeys. And once they're aged in Kentucky or in Indiana, he drives them some 970 miles, which is similar to taking a barrel down the river. It doesn't take 4 months, it takes a couple days, but you drive those 900 miles down, and that's going to slosh that whiskey around. He lets it settle at least one season in the Indiana, Kentucky heat, not the Texas heat, and then ooh, you got a good you're gonna have a good Halloween podcast when we do it. You create some scary vibes. But
I was trying to get it to where it wasn't so bright on top of my head there.
Yeah, but you're doing it. You'll get it. And so he does a Kentuckian and an Indiana bourbon, and they're just spectacular. I'm waiting for the newest batch to come up, and we're going to taste that and have Jason Giles on real soon. So there you go. We covered our sponsors, everybody. That's cool. I wanted tonight to give that a really good, because we're not being pushed for time. We don't have a lot of, sometimes you have guests, you got to whip through it because you just want to get to the meat and potatoes. Sometimes you're doing specifics, but tonight, our main thing that we're going to do tonight is we are going to barrel bash in Scotchy Bourbon Boy, fashion manner. We're going to pay homage to the barrel bash. We don't barrel bash as much as we did initially. So we're going to be barrel bashing the Maker's Mark Cellar Age. So everybody, we're going to get started. You ready to start, Nash? Are you ready to get going? Are you ready?
I am. So I'd like to say cheers and a toast to the end of our 5th season.
Well, that's everybody on Facebook and YouTube. We'll do this toast again once we're recording. But cheers. Yep. Oh my God, that new Riff pick was so good.
So was our William. That has opened up so good.
All right. 30-second spot. We'll be quiet. You'll hear the music, and we'll get on our way. I almost had spillage.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on scotch. We did it a while, but it's so fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, we talk some sweet, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Raising the hell and making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun. Yeah! Woo!
All right. Welcome back to the last podcast of season 5. It is a record-setting podcast. Believe it or not, folks, we did 90. This is our 98th podcast of the year. The record before was 96. So 98 podcasts. We do this. Our season ends before we go to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. So the first week of September, I have to, because we're leaving to go to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival Saturday, September 7th. Next week, I got to take the time to pack up properly. The studio is going to go on. We got tents. We got stuff happening. There's so much happening down there. So we did 2 live podcasts last week. So if you're following us along, one was at Whiskey Thief, our newest sponsor, and the other one was at New Riff with Jay Ersman and Brian Sprance, their master distiller. They're not a new employee, but their new master distiller. He's now the face of New Riff. So those 2 podcasts will be going up next week on the audio side. I'm going to try and get the Whiskey Thief up on the video side for YouTube, everybody, but we won't be live until we're back down in Kentucky for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. There is a chance that we will do the Tuesday podcast live at 8:30 on YouTube and Facebook or YouTube or whatever. I'm going to try and do it on both. I have microphones to do it on both. We'll see what we can do. I'll try and get them both up and we'll go live that Tuesday. So that would be the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th. I think Tuesday the 10th. Look for us again on Facebook and YouTube. But up until that point, you're going to see some random lives popping out. So keep watching for that 100%. Watch for a lot of different lives coming up. It won't be the normal times, but we will do it on Facebook and YouTube from the festival. I think this year we've got it down pretty good. And like I said, my microphone set is kind of set up now. So we're going to do that. Now, what we like to do when the season ends, me and Roxy have ended a couple seasons. And tonight, me and Super Nash are going to end a couple seasons. Super Nash. How's it going? Glad to have you here tonight.
Absolutely, man. Everything is going great.
On the audio, you can't see this, but Super Nash has spent a lot of time and effort to make a podcast room, a bunker. It's like he's shown me pictures. It's spectacular. I was there when he was making the shelving. He was putting up the shelving. I knew everything that he was going to do, but now he's had it set up for a while, but trying to figure out how to podcast and, out of it. And, you should actually afterwards shake Bob's hand because he deserves it, because he has forced you to do.
He'll be coming in here in a little while.
That's okay, but he forced you to do something I couldn't do, so I respect the man. So I love your background. Your backgrounds were so cool before, but this is upper next level. So congratulations, man.
It's kind of stepping up to your level now.
Yeah, but you'll have to disappear to go get stuff out the closet. So you better make sure your shelves are stocked before the podcast, not your closets, because your closets are it's just crazy. This man has some great. I have bourbon, but this man takes bourbon to another level.
Level?
Yeah, level. Anyways, I'm gonna see what I'm just gonna try and put some stuff there. Yeah, put that there. All right. So just try to move some stuff around so that we look good on Facebook and on YouTube. Walker, I see. Yeah, he's trying to draw people in and talk there. But this is our 5th season. This started November. So the first season was once a week. And it was November. We started we're not 5 years old, we're 5 seasons old. So the first season, I ended it because it was 2019. And when September rolled around for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival in 2020, if you remember, 2020's Bourbon Festival was canceled. And then eventually it was virtual in, I want to say, was it October or November? I think it was actually November, correct? Early November or late October, one or the other.
Late October.
Either way, because I know you were outside working in your garage when you won Harlan Wheatley's.
The Harlan Wheatley signed Blanton's bottle.
Yeah.
And didn't even know it.
Yeah, I had to call
I
him.
had signed off early from the virtual festival. Didn't even stick around for the drawing, and you had to call me. And I signed back on and saw that I won.
Yeah, that was awesome. And
that was pretty cool.
so that's why we started the seasons on the new season. Each season starts off with podcasts from the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We do live ones, record, but we do so many. Now, last year we didn't do that many, but and I think this year we're going to do a lot more. But we do so many that I'm able to come back and load them through, and then try and catch up with my video editing with YouTube. So once we get back from Kentucky Bourbon Festival this year, I'm going to be going live on Thursdays once a week, but supplementing on Tuesdays, new podcasts all along, and then the video and everything. So we'll go to one time a week live opposed to two. Now, I love doing the lives. And as soon as that all runs out, when we get more into the November, because we got then Bourbon on the Banks, and then it goes in. And once we get into the late October, November, I'll be going back to two times a week once I run out of material to supplement. But I really got to catch up on all the video that I shoot. And
then we'll be having some holiday podcast, our annual Halloween podcast.
Yep, we got
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And then our annual Christmas party.
Yes. And so let's review season 5, because season 5 picked up last year at Kentucky Bourbon Festival. And at Kentucky Bourbon Festival, we did a bunch of things that we hadn't done. One, we had Seth Benheim out to the house, and he did the first ever live podcast from our Airbnb. And he came out and broke a barrel with us. So the barrel, we axed the barrel right there. Aaron Harris had made that possible by bringing down a couple barrels for us to axe. And it was an all-around really, really cool experience overall. And I mean, it was just amazing. And then we did our first ever interview with Fred No. That was awesome. And we also did a podcast with, you could talk about that right there with
I was just fixing to open this up. But we did a podcast with Dan McKee and Andrea Wilson from Michter's Distillery, where I actually opened up this 1976 Michter's pot or Michter's jug that was actually distilled in the old Pennsylvania distillery before it closed down. And then we all had a nice pour of it, which this is what was left of, and I decanted it, and that's how clear and beautiful and delicious it is. And they actually said that it was one of the best pours that they had ever had. And after it was over, Dan signed the front of the bottle, and then Andrea wrote me a great big huge note on the back.
That's amazing.
Of the bottle. And that was an amazing, and that was a live podcast that we did at
to finish up the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. So we did a lot of stuff right from the festival, but also we had our 3rd annual Scotchy Bourbon Boys bus tour, which went to Maker's Mark Log Still Distillery and finished up with Greg Schneider, the #1 guest at 9 times on the podcast, just ahead of Randy and Press, the Kentucky Bourbon Festival's president, and then also Alan Bishop. So we've got some guests that come on all the time. And there you go. He's got that Michter's in his Scotchy Bourbon Boy, Glen Cairn. Yeah, beautiful. So
it's just as delicious as what it was that we've opened it.
I can imagine. So overall, that bus tour was such a huge success that day. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. The bus tour is sold out again this year for the 4th, but next year you're going to want to get in on it the 5th. These tickets, although they're it's not a cheap thing. I mean, $275. It's going to go up probably close to $295, $299 next year, because this year we pushed it. It just, nothing goes down anymore, right?
Yeah.
But our bus tour consists of all special pours that me, CT, and Super Nash bring on to share with everybody who comes on this bus tour. Starts out with a toast at our Airbnb at 8:30 in the morning. We head off this last year to Maker's Mark for a tour and a tasting at Maker's Mark. Then, right after Maker's Mark, we went over to Log Still Distillery, where we had lunch and got a tour of Log Still and tasting from the Log Still Distillery. And then, once we finished with lunch, we stopped at the farm next
I'm gonna
door.
show them some of the special pours that
Well, we had those special pours we had. Yeah, if you want to pull those on, we stopped off at the farm next door that grows the grains for Log Still and I believe Limestone Branch, those two distilleries, yeah, I mean
one.
we had the American
That was,
Revolutionary.
That was in 1976 early times that we opened up on the bus. And then we got this, I believe it was in 1980, no, 1970. 1970 Old Fitzgerald, which was Stitzel Weller.
That was delicious.
And we opened that up on the bus.
Right. And then I'm gonna so
another year, then we did this right here. We opened up this J.W. Dana.
Yep.
And we do old Jim Beam bottles.
Yeah, so there's some awesome pours that we drink on that bus, and then we
Regular barrel cruise. We do allocated stuff, stuff that people normally can't get a hold of.
We did Foolproof Weller last year. Opened that. I opened that one, and then we also had the Colonel Lee that we drank, courtesy of Brad Bonds and Revival. So
and that was like a 1956, I think.
So just like this year, we're gonna start Nash on Saturday at Revival. You're gonna have to come up to Revival when you come up this time, because they will have a soft opening next Wednesday and their grand opening on I believe that the 4th is their grand opening. So we can, no, that's a soft opening. Their grand opening is that Friday night, but we're gonna go Saturday and go down there to their new place that they're just opening. So like last year, we kicked it off at Revival. If you remember, you flew in and then drove up to Revival, met us there, and then we made our way back down to our Airbnb. Well, this year we're going to be meeting up at Revival too with Brad and do a podcast from their new space, hopefully. So we'll start off with the podcast right off the bat. So, but that's what we did anyways. So that was Kentucky Bourbon Festival and everything. But during the week, we had our bus tour, but we also earlier had gone and done a podcast with Aaron Harris at Green River. And then that was a blast, getting to see Green River for the first time, do some barrel thieving with the master distiller, show us around. And then we also had that week was the barrel pick that we did through the Elijah Craig. We were at Heaven Hill with Bernie Lubbers, and we picked an Elijah Craig barrel
right here.
Yep, and it was a spectacular barrel that we picked, even though it turned out to be a short one and everything. Yep. So, anyways, we were able to do that, and that was that weekend. And all the podcasts that were out, and that was the start of season 5. It led to coming back. I believe I went to the Ohio Craft Distillery Festival at Hemrick's Farm in I want to say Troy, but yeah, I think it's Troy, Ohio. Went down there for that festival. That was a blast. Got some footage of that, and then we met back up at Bourbon on the Banks with Amzie and Diane, who were on the podcast this past Tuesday talking about Bourbon on the Banks. But Bourbon on the Banks was spectacular when we were down there again. Rented a house. We did everything. We were cannonballing. We were swimming. We were touring Lawrence. We stopped off at and saw the Lawrenceburg Distill. Can you believe it's almost a year since we did that?
Oh,
I mean, that's just
crazy.
Yeah. So we got Greg from Lawrenceburg to come on the podcast, and it was just an overall great experience. I think Royce Neely was on the on the podcast for the first time from
Stephen Fonte had come on, and we smoked some cigars.
Yep, from Yellowstone and Limestone Branch. Yeah. So that was again some great podcasts. Then we went in. We had our annual. I believe that's our third annual Halloween.
That is a cellar age sitting to my right, and we're going to be barrel bashing it here in just a while.
Yep. And we're going to barrel bash that. But in review, what we're coming down to is all the stuff. So then we had not only did we have our Halloween classic party where whiskey showed up as me. I had hair. Now it's like, so then we go into the holiday time, and you came up for the holiday Christmas party. There was a lot of people that had to cancel because they weren't feeling good. Roxy, whiskey, and then I think Walker was supposed to come up, and he wasn't able to come up either. So it was a little bit light turnout, but there was a lot of people there. Jamie came up. Barrelhead made a lot of Christmas raffle giveaways, which was fantastic. We just had an absolute spectacular time at the Christmas party, and then me and you hopped into the car, met Greg Schneider. We went down and saw Amin, and then we went and
stopped in and saw Brad Vance because we stayed at the hotel.
Yep, that's where you left your old Stubborn. And Brad was able to run over there and get it from
the hotel. Yeah, and Brad had to run across there and get it.
I left my shirts last weekend down at I left it at Old Homestead. Jolie had to go get my shirts. So I'm lacking. I'll have to get some more shirts for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Anyways, so after that, then we went into waiting for that barrel pick. We hit the winter time, and we had a lot of, but we were trying to get and find out when the barrel pick was going to be in. It finally came in about, I think it was March. It came in March. And that's when
it was late March.
That's when we did another barrel pick down at the Spirit of French Lick for these two.
We did a lot of podcasts like through January and February, which we did on all the bourbon that we had picked up at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival and Bourbon on the Banks, because we got a lot of great picks at both of those festivals. And so that's when we started tasting and reviewing those, and some special guests on there.
So then we got, after we did the pick, then we got through the solar eclipse that right up here in Ohio we experienced in full view. It was one of the places we were in the path of what was it? It's called, oh my God, whatever. Anyways, we were in the path that was completely dark, so
solar eclipse.
Yeah, but they call it the path of totality, right? The path of thank you so much. Did Walker push in? Did he say that? No, he didn't. Anyways, so but then what happened in March, this past March, is we went to our first time the New Orleans Bourbon Festival down in NOLA Bourbon Festival. Tracy,
what a great time.
He took care of us. It was a great time. If CT can go this year, we're going to do it again. I'm going to let CT experience New Orleans. He had a wedding and wasn't able to come, but I think that's what, that March, that was a wonderful time. I mean, everybody that we got to, Mark Carter and, and then, we did that, which led to going down again and going to the old Carter social club. I mean, it's just like, there was so many people that we met down there, Macaulay and everything. I can't wait to see them coming up, And then
one of the coolest things was how all the whiskeys and bourbons and ryes that are submitted to the NOLA Bourbon Festival is that the people that actually come to the festival are the judges. And so they get to judge and pick all the picks instead of like a panel of whiskey professionals, right?
Right. There's a competition. There's not when you go to Kentucky Bourbon Festival or you go to Bourbon on the Banks, there's not a competition. They're not giving out awards for the festival. That is a unique thing that Tracy Napatoli, you know how to say it, right? Napolitano and his wife, they put on a spectacular event. I was impressed.
Barbara.
Yep. And so you had the judging the one day. Then everybody was coming in, and then you had all the seminars at the hotel. There was the introduction, the opening night intro to everybody that everybody went to. Plus, you just kept spilling out into New Orleans onto Bourbon Street. We went there. We were there from Wednesday, I believe, all the way till Sunday, and it was just.
Where you stayed at conference center was, just within walking distance of all these fabulous restaurants. Bourbon Street was right there. You didn't have to drive anywhere. It was all right there. I think we took Uber one time?
Yeah, we Ubered places. We walked. It just depended on what was going on. The hotel was right down on the river, right by the ocean, where all the ocean liners, all the cruise ships dock. But then what was great is that majority of the conferences and everything that went on all happened at the hotel. So it was very, very comfortable. If you got tired or if you just wanted to rest your feet, get away for a second, you could just go right up to your hotel room and then change clothes, use the bathroom, whatever. It was just very convenient. And then that at the Saturday and Sunday nights, or the Friday and Saturday nights, were the event at the other facility where everybody was there tasting their bourbons and had their booths and everything, and their food trucks were, New Orleans food trucks. Holy shit! The oysters, those smoked oysters. They went from when it opened at 6 all the way till when it closed. They had that. I don't know how you keep a fire going that long. You know what I mean? I've grilled. You got to keep. They were experts at it though. So there was so much there. All the places. It was fantastic. So New Orleans, another check in the box of what we're gonna do, or what we did. But we covered that really well. So you can check out all the podcasts we did about New Orleans and what we did when we were there. And overall, it was pretty spectacular, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite times of this past season.
Yeah. So then we came back and let's see. So we've been waiting for the French lick pick to come in. It's been a long summer. I was on vacation. You went to Hawaii. And so overall, when's the last time we saw each other, Nash? Was it New Orleans? I think so.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So the summer flew by, I would have to say. I mean, I took a vacation in Wisconsin and Michigan, and then also in Florida in February personally. And
I saw you on the way back from Florida because we did a bottle exchange
in the mountains. Yeah, I had to. The only I had to
a parking lot trunk exchange.
I had to drive to winter weather in the mountains to see Nash, and then take a treacherous pass to get to where I wanted to go. And and by trek at night, I had to do that at night. We had nothing like that in Ohio or and we that day when I met you and that night, I started out the day, I think 75 degrees and perfect at the beach. No, at the end we stayed in it wasn't Hilton Head.
Savannah, Georgia.
Where was it? What was the name of the beach by the Burnt Church Distillery? What is it? It's not Hilton.
Savannah.
No, it's
not Savannah.
It's the other. It's not Hilton Head. It's the other one. Anyways, I don't know. I think it might have been Hilton Head. Could it have been Hilton Head? Where's Hilton Head?
It was Hilton Head.
Yeah, it was Hilton Head. There you go. Anyways, lots of fun. But that was before I saw you in Hilton Head, and then I saw you in March. So the last time was the festival. Now we're about to go crazy.
We are.
And so we're going to see each other coming up in a little bit, but that's next season. So now we've got this.
It's a year away, but it's a week from Saturday.
Yep.
8 days, baby.
Yep. Last weekend I went and picked up this barrel pick and then so all my stuff, and then we went to see Alan at Beck's Mill, and then we stayed at the Patoka Winery, which is the old Homestead Distillery. Saw what was going on there. Jolie Kasperzak, a really good friend of the podcast. We miss her so much, but now her and Alan are back together, and there will be no missing them. This is going to be a lot of fun at Old Homestead, and then finished up at Whiskey Thief on Sunday. And I'm telling you, one of the best decisions I ever made is to go with meet Walter's at Whiskey Thief. Hunter Coffee has moved on, but you've got Kelly Tennille, the master distiller, and their new distiller who his name I had, but it's gone. But we got to meet him. Hey, Walker, what was
You're gonna know. Cheers, yo. Yo, Tonto is watching.
Okay. What was the name? If you're there, if you're still there, Walker, what was the name of the distiller at? I'm just looking to see. He usually pitches in, and there it is, Derek. Thank you. He said it. It's like Walker. You save my life all the time. So Derek and Kelly. And they're getting this distillery team. I found out that Hannah now heads up their single barrel program, and I would have to say that we do single barrels at the place. We pick single barrels at where our sponsors are, right? We've got to support that and do that. So that could be in the future. Also, so I got to meet Derek, hang out with Walter. We were there. We had a great time. The podcast was fantastic. CT was with us when we first came down. We did the podcast from New Riff with that should be airing on the audio next week. It was live last Friday, and with Jay and Brian, and CT came, but he had to go home. But he drove the drive again to go to Whiskey Thief on Sunday. So it was just, I know you were, Nash, you were just like wishing you were there. I know that.
Oh yeah.
It's like when we first started, there's a lot of places you were where I wish I would have been. And you always were. Now you've taught me well. And the Padawan is the master now. And there's times we and I have to thank you for that, because you taught me a lot this fun.
Now you sting like me.
But just know that it's so exciting to have a place that you know the people already, and you love going there, and you love helping them, and now they're an official sponsor of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys,
So
Whiskey
cool. When you
Thief.
told me that, yeah.
So it's Whiskey Thief, Rosewood, Spirit of French Lick, and Alan Bishop all are there, and it's a full sponsorship. It brings some power to us with what we're doing. We keep edging up, and hopefully the Roku thing that I've got set up as we go forward. If you have a Roku TV, check out the Scotchy Bourbon
I
Boys.
remember way back when it was Three Boys Farm Distillery.
Yes.
And I had drove up early, and I was trying to figure out things to do, waiting on you. And I went by there, and I thieved from them barrels and thieved my own bottle, and which I still got it back there in my bunker. And then I told you about it. I said, you got to go by there. You got to go by there. And so then we'd stop by there. And
Well,
then-
I think that was the Kentucky Bourbon. So that was Kentucky Bourbon Festival, and you met us at Neely that year, and then we started. We didn't get a chance to do that, but me and Roxy went to me and Roxy went to where was it? We went to the Alan Bishop Experience in Louisville when we stayed at the Omni, and it was a really nice. We met Jolie and Alan there, and they showed the premiere. And on the way home, there had been some drama or whatever. So me and Roxy were together, just ourselves, and we wanted to do something on the way home. And it was Sunday after the big thing. And we went to Whiskey Thief and met Hannah, and we did a bunch of videos, and I put them up as reels, and they did really. That was my first million. Remember that, when a first million reel of me thieving the barrel? So I got a hold of them again, and then we went down before that next Kentucky Bourbon Festival. We stopped at Whiskey Thief, and Hannah was there. And that's when she served me, you, and everybody, and it's been on since. But the experience that every single time I go there, it's like going to a backyard barbecue at your friend's, but your friend has 5 fantastic barrels of whiskey and rye just sitting out there. And then you can, I mean, it's amazing. So this is a Whiskey Thief. I have these two. I mean, they've been because we've been supportive of them. They're supportive of us. So it's been kind of cool. So cheers to our new sponsor. Cheers to many years of promoting. You opened that. I have not opened mine. I went with the old one. I want to.
My old one, but I decided to put this tonight because it has Whiskey Thief on it. And cheers to Whiskey Thief Distilling being our new sponsor.
Yes, I hear that Hunter's doing well too, and I can't wait to hang out with Kelly down there. Kelly makes some damn good gin, and she mixes it with bourbon and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff.
See, we thieved this 12/17/2023. It's a 6-year barrel number 374 12/14.
All right.
Corn, 12 rye, 14 malted barley.
Okay, so that's awesome. It's like, Walker, if you want to go back to Facebook, feel free, because there's some people on YouTube, but doesn't seem to be a lot of people commenting, so that's fine.
It's like a sweet popcorn ball.
Oh, this
popcorn balls.
I mean, and when we
Christmas time,
and when we did this, it was a cold day. Remember that?
Yeah.
They had the heaters in there. It was a cold day, and because it was right around Christmas. And so we did Whiskey Thief. Then we went over to Amines, right? I believe we stopped at Amines and went up and saw Greg, spent the night. And then that's when you went home the next day. And that was a lot of fun. I think it actually snowed that night a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I was driving back home and I was going through like rain and snow in Dayton in that one. That was an interesting drive home.
Yeah, that's where we all three split up.
Yep.
Me, Chris.
Yes. Anyways, all right. So that's the year in review. This season was amazing. I mean, if you just think, we didn't even go over the guests. I mean, Randy was on for the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, I believe 2-3 times this year. And we also had Diane.
Greg Schneider on.
We had Greg Schneider on. Alan Bishop has been on all the way up to, now that he's busy now opening a distillery. Him and Jolie are going to be on soon. Probably, I imagine, sometime November, December, I'll be headed over there to see what they're doing and do a podcast. And once they have their tasting room open, and they're doing something called Sunshine. And then let's just think, I mean, there was, I got to remember, we had Jay Ersman and Brian Sprance from New Riff.
From 2XO.
Yeah, the Dixon Deadman.
Dixon Deadman, yeah.
From 2XO. I want to say at the festival we had Barry Brinegar. And as far as you remember, CT got he got Aaron Harris, Aaron Harris to do a surprise drop in, where I was tasting the single barrel Cherry Jubilee, which is still a fantastic bottle that I hit. So I mean, we've had Macaulay Minton. Let's see. I'm just trying. We had Big Dog Distillery on, and then we were at Lawrenceburg. We went to Lawrenceburg. That was in April when we went down to. We saw Amin, but that's the next podcast. I think we're gonna get together with Amin and do a podcast Monday.
He's been traveling some this summer too.
Yeah, Monday. Let's try for that. But we did a podcast, I believe, with Lawrenceburg, and what was the other one? We were supposed to have a Heaven Hill, but that got canceled. I mean, the New Riff one initially, but we just got it done. So I'm just staying faithful to having guests on that everybody wants to have on. We had Jason Giles on. I believe we also had
from Buzzard Tree.
Yeah, we had. Oh my God, there's a mental. Yeah, thanks for bringing that one up.
trying to run through all these.
I mean, seriously, I went to Liberty Pole this past season. Saw the great everybody down there. It's I want to say the Huff family. Anyways, fantastic whiskey there in Pennsylvania. We also had
Mark Carter.
We had Mark Carter on from Old Carter. That's where we did Old Carter. We did Lawrenceburg with Greg down there, and then also we've been at Amin's a couple times. Done a lot of video and putting shorts up for him to promote
we need to sit down with him in next
Old Louisville. Yes, we're going to do that. That'll be high priority for Amin. And then there was Smoke Wagon. We had Smoke Wagon. Yep. We had them on. So we've got this. We've been covering this, So it's pretty cool. I can't wait to keep going. Penelope is going to be there. So Danny and Michael are still doing their thing with that. So we might have a podcast with them. Just going forward, it's just going to be great. So I don't know what to tell you. Pretty awesome, right? I mean, if you listen to this podcast,
we could shoot for Bill Samuels Jr. and Bill Samuels for Maker's Mark this year. Since we've already met them,
we got
them to come down, at dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah, and okay. So then we also did the Stephen Fonte. We actually did a podcast from Stephen Fonte's backyard. I mean, that's the last time I saw you. In April, March.
In
April, yes. Saw you when you came up for that. There you go. That was it. I knew there was something in there.
And it just seemed like it was a few weeks ago. But yeah, the whole summer's been gone.
I'm going to try what you were just drinking.
It's great.
So, and we went and saw Macaulay at Dark Arts.
Yep.
That was great. He wants to be on.
We went by there and he thieved and shared from quite a few barrels there.
Yeah, some spectacular. And we saw Macaulay also at New Orleans. I mean, so we've been. Time is going by so fast, though. I would have to say, months don't seem like months. It doesn't, like the whole summer has passed by. I had a great summer. Broke my arm, had my teeth ripped out of my mouth. But it's like, but it's over, and I'm healthy. Been getting back. I actually did 4 sets of 6 push-ups today.
Awesome.
And what I do is I've been adding 1 each day. So I just started this, and because of the wrist, and the shoulder injury that I sustained, I started out with 4 sets of 1. I was happy to do 1 push-up. I usually start out with 15 and start working up 1 at a time. But this time I started out because the pain, there was pain in the wrist. So I'm trying to get in shape again, like always. It's like it's always up and down. You know that, right? Super Nash. We're always up and down. All right. So what were you saying? Popcorn on this?
Yeah. To me, it tastes just like those old popcorn balls.
Oh, and John Ritt, I'm going to see him on Sunday, and he's become a obtainer of. I'm picking up 2 few smashing pumpkins from him.
Walker is really picking it up. We had Ross Cornelius, Ed Blay, Harlan Wheatley, Fred, Greg, Jason.
Ross Cornelison. How can you forget Ross? Ross is a friend of. He watches regularly. I mean, we talk about Greg Schneider. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we gave him the kudos on the fact that he's been on the podcast the most. His knowledge of him and Alan bring a knowledge of distilling, the distilling industry right to you. I mean, and Alan's like a trendsetter. He's doing sunshine. It's basically sunflower seeds that are malted. And when I got to see the malt process, which was pretty cool.
Says there's another you pick out that's more infused with cherries. Just let me know, guys. I'll go pick it up this weekend. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I'm going to meet John on my way back right around lunchtime. Hopefully 12. He might have some people there. I'm going to let them taste the barrel pick. I'm going to pick up those bottles. He picked up another bottle for me. And then hopefully some people are interested in what I'm introducing to them. And so we'll do the exchange, and then I'll be on my way back. And then Sunday I got to be home by 8 o'clock. So 5 hours from where I am in Chicago. I got to leave about 2 because you add an hour. So that's one fun thing. But overall, that's been the review of what we did. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to be at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival this year, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be better than ever. The tents, everything, how we're set up, what we're going to do, how we can,
Usual 8 days, Saturday to Sunday week.
yeah. And the festival's going to have that double decker tent. The social media, the media tent is like
cigar lounge on
better than There's going to be a cigar lounge, but there's also going to be an outdoor and an indoor. I mean, it's just like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and enjoy it as much as I can and not work too hard, because usually I work too hard. We those 3 days you would think, but we pretty much own it. You gotta tear down and set up your podcast, one to whatever. But we're set up to do that, and we got a team this year, and this should work out fantastic. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, that's what I'm thinking.
So last weekend I went down on Friday, visited New Riff. Then we went and met Walker, and we checked into the Hotel Covington. Then after we checked into the Hotel Covington, me and Walker went and got some pizza. Then we went over to Revival, hung out with Brad and Justin. Then finished up there, went back to the hotel, woke up in the morning, went and drove to the Spirit of French Lick, did our thing there. Then we drove another 30 minutes, and we went and saw Alan at Beck's Mill for his mash-in that he was doing, his historical distilling presentation that he does there. Hung out with him for 3 hours, then drove the 45 minutes to Patoka Lake, checked into our room. We basically had dinner, met with
you and Walker stayed in the silo.
No, not. It's like, it was 90 degrees. That did not look appealing. And then we stayed at the old homes, the new rooms. We wanted to stay in the bourbon rooms. They were bourbon themed. The whole hotel's bourbon themed. Brand new hotel, spectacular. And then we went over to the wine, the restaurant that's there. We saw the distillery through Jolie, and then, I mean, we were smoking cigars about 10:30 just on the back thing. Went back. Neither one of us drank that much that day. We just had a little bit of slushy here. And that was really bad because we ended up talking till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then we had to get back up till 6. We got back up at 6, got out of there, went to Whiskey Thief, did the whole thing, and then finished up. Actually, Walker, I think, stayed a little bit longer than I did, because his drive home was only like 2-3 hours right there. Mine was 5-6 hours, whatever. I got home at 9:30, went to work this week. Now, this weekend, I'm going to have a Friday night. Everybody's coming over to do a tasting of the newest release we have. And then that's Friday, and pick up whatever they've had me bring back for them. And then Saturday, I get in the car at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I drive up to Wisconsin. I'm going to have meet a guy to drop off some stuff for Christy. And then also I have yours. I do have yours. I convinced her to give it to me. I'll bring that to Bourbon Festival, and we'll drink a bottle. We'll drink that bottle of 13 there, Nash. Just kidding. You don't have to open it. And then we'll.
I gotta ask you.
That would be cool on the bus to have
the barrel that found its way back to Allen somehow find its way on your vehicle
this weekend? No, yeah. I took it from French Lick over to Allen, and he's going to use it as a finish.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but it's not on my vehicle. He's got it.
Yeah, did it? I was just wondering if that was the barrel that came from our pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that found its way. Yeah, the little.
Even when I saw that barrel, I guarantee that's the barrel that found its way.
Yeah, the Lillian, we took the Lillian over there, so that's going to be there.
The Lillian? That wasn't the William Dalton.
No, the Dalton. They right now. Justin had asked if he could put sherry in it, and then so did then I talked to Laurelyn, and she asked, so it was a done deal. That one has stayed there. I didn't need another Dalton yet. You've got, what do you got? You got the first Dalton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Dalton with the French stave. You got the first Dalton with the. Isn't that underneath your table right now?
That's the one that's right here.
Can you see the? Where is it? Can you see the dick nosed dolphin?
No, that's on the bottom.
I would have put it on the top. Anyways, so you see my signature?
Took a picture of it, and I've been made a picture and put it up on top here because there's a space right up top where nobody's signing.
You mean you would? How about if it's a right? You have it on a glass thing, right?
Yeah.
How about if I bring this with you and I just give you that?
Yes. I will put it. Look, I'll show you. I'll take the camera. See? There's the table right there.
Yep, there's the table and tiny, and then you just put that right there. You could slide that right under there. You don't need the picture. Yeah, on one of the cases, the rare and elusive Alan Bishop 2023, he drew what he initially drew, whatever it was, and then it turned out to be this. So I'm not going to say what it is again. So I've got that. Yeah, that would be cool to put on your table, right?
Yes. That's what I was going to do. Was I took a picture of it that day, and my intentions were to print it out and lay that picture right up top here.
All right, so let me get this all situated. I'll get that back.
You getting ready to barrel bash?
Yeah, we're gonna barrel bash the cellar age. Let me get rearranged here. So I know the people on YouTube.
Walker said, "Nope, he took it."
Took what?
Forget about the barrel.
Yep, we did. Actually, Walker had it in the back of his. So this tonight.
Oh, no. He said he ripped the door handle off. I guess getting it in or out.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I remember that. All right, so I'm going to put this in a Scotchy Bourbon Boys Crystal Glencairn, and I have to say thank you, Walker. You're going to notice something, Walker, about this
I'm going to put it
bottle.
in Baker's Mark. Yep, Glencairn.
So I'm going to say when I tried this at we tried this at the festival last year. And quite frankly, to get it, you had to like wake up at 4:00 in the morning and go over to Maker's Mark, and there was a line, and we were told what to do, but it was just insane. We're hearing that because everybody was there for whatever, people were waiting forever, and people weren't getting them and whatever. Now, Walker will attest to you could get them after everybody left. All of a sudden, the distillery had held back too much. And they were just putting it out daily for just the regular people, and there wasn't a huge line. You could get, if I'm not mistaken, you could get it, right? Walker went at 4:15 in the morning.
Mine cost me two Weller Antique 107s,
which would be kind of crazy, but it just was $100. Now, what was retail, Walker, of the bottle? Walker's right there. He paid retail at the distillery. All I can say is that when I
was what, 129?
No, he's about to tell us he paid it. They pulled back 70 milliliters. 70 what? Anyways, what I wanted to say was that when I tried this, we got to try this right at Kentucky Bourbon Festival at the Rick House, the Rick House restaurant is right there. He said 158 retail at the distillery. So you got a good deal considering you paid 2 reds. You get that's $50 a piece here.
Yeah, that's $100.
Yeah, and who gets you reds and greens?
You, my man.
I do. That is one thing I can do for you. Although
I can't get them down here in South Carolina.
So I would have to say me, CT, and you had a pour of this at the Rick House. They opened the bottle right there, and we all had a pour. And I was not impressed. I thought it tasted like cask strength Maker's to me. Now, Maker's Mark is weeded bourbon. And this cellar aged goes into their cellar aged. Their cellar is on the premises where they do a lot of their finishing staves. It's a controlled atmosphere. You go there and you go into the cellar, you can see it. So Walker, it was like, I'll bring you this, but just give the bottle back. Now it's a half a bottle, and thank you so much for this, Walker. I'm gonna say this is so awesome. But it was
on this is 115.7.
I think on this one, Walker put the proof up. I gotta put he said something about 124. He actually knew exactly what it was, but I will tell you what the proof is on this cellar age.
Mine's 115.7.
Yeah, his is 115.7 too. 115.7.
Flip it over to the other side. It's a special blend of 8 barrels, 13% whiskey aged 11 years, and 87% whiskey aged 12 years.
So cellar aged Maker's Mark is every single Maker's Mark's dream whiskey, because Maker's Mark is produced at around 7 years old. My barrel for my ambassador barrel in 2000, I signed up in August of 2019. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. August of 24 is 5 years. It's 5 years old. I'm waiting to go down and get because they say anywhere between 5 and 7 years, isn't it?
5 and 7, yeah.
So when
it's around 6 for most people.
So I'm just looking every day.
Depending on where it was put in the Rick House.
Yep, it's got your name on there on the barrel head. You can buy up to, I believe, 12 bottles off yours.
Me and Sherry, we became, when you told me in 2019, me and Sherry did it in 2020.
Right. But it's 5 to 7 years old, and that's the normal age for makers. The fact that this is 11 and 12-year-old is what everybody says. This aged weeded bourbon is spectacular. Now, thank you again, 5 to 6 years old, he said. Walker, this bottle had been open. It was half full. And I'm going to say something, Walker. I will tell you, you can look at this bottle right now. It was half full. It was almost up to the cellar aged since I had it here. Now, me and you had a couple pours out of it that night. But I'm going to tell you, this is spectacular bourbon now that it's been open and sat for a little bit. And I think you just look at that, by the time it's going to be done. I'm going to be done with this. It's one of the most enjoyable pours I've had. 115 proof. So it's like a cask strength, but it's double the age?
Yeah.
And obviously they take it and they put in that, they take it from the six years out of their normal rick houses and put these barrels in their atmosphere controlled rick house, which is, they call it cellar aged because it's cooler down there, and it takes it. But what do you get? Okay, so we're going to barrel bash this. I'm going to take a little bit bigger pour because cellar aged Maker's Mark. So So what I wanted to say is our Scotchy Bourbon Boys barrel bashing scale is based off of, it's been a while.
Maybe it's been so long.
Yeah, it's based off of bashing the barrel. This barrel is the Dalton. And initially, in season 1, we barrel bashed. The barrel was bongos using drumsticks. Me and Young Nose would do this rating system, and Young Nose at the time kept notes on. I think I actually have those notes. I should go back and see if I can find the notes that he kept on each whiskey that we barrel bashed. At that time, I actually had an app, and I was putting all my ratings of every bourbon I drank into the little app.
I remember you used to have that book.
Yep.
Young Nose was doing that, wasn't he?
Yep. And so our barrel bashing rating system over the years, and after the season 3 is when it really changed, because on the last episode of season 3, we came up with the But Up because me and Roxy were there, and it was something other than a But Up. But anyways, so what it is 4 categories: nose, nose, body, taste, and finish.
And finish.
Yes, nose, body, taste, and finish. But as we evolved, we decided, and I rightfully so, that each category had a total of 4 bashes, and you could give one exceptional category a But Up, which would be an extra bash, so that it could get a 5. But at one point, I came up with that the nose and the body weren't as important as the taste and the finish. So I added a point for the taste and the finish. So the total of the best bourbon, if you have a But Up in it, could be 19 of 18 bashes. So me and Super Nash are about to bash this baby.
Did you know that in this distiller profile of the book, it actually gives a mash bill for this?
What is the mash bill for?
70% corn, 16% soft riff winter wheat, and 14% malted barley.
16% winter wheat?
Yeah.
And 14 malted, so their barley content is high.
Yeah, 14%.
So on this Lillian, the malt in this, so when you get this, it's a honey malt for the Lillian. That was one thing that I didn't know in the tasting notes I was reading, and I forgot that it was a honey note. A honey.
Let me give you just
a honey malt.
One more fact. The reason they did this in the cellar is that to age this to taste. To achieve this, we used the Maker's Mark limestone cellar to age this bourbon for an additional 5 to 6 years after standard 6-year maturing in our traditional rick houses. This slows down the tannic impact that occurs during the maturation while allowing the barrel to develop complexity and deeper, darker flavor characteristics. So that's why they aged it in the limestone cellar.
So the nose is like, I always found that I pick up cherry off of Maker's Mark noses. I'm starting to recognize Maker's Mark very, very.
It's like you did the bananas in the Old Forester when we went to executive bourbon steward school.
That was funny because where I surprised myself is the fact that I nailed the proofs and exactly what they were. And then what was his comment? Someone needs to
hold on there, young man. He got spanked.
He should have been excited for me because I was excited. I never did anything. I living nailed that.
I know, we were nailing it. Yeah, it was so cool. And you were, definitely.
So anyways. It smells so good. This smells like, now I would say that at 115 at this year, I'm picking up a little bit. I pick up the ethanol off this. And normally a Maker's Mark, you don't pick up that ethanol, right?
Just slightly. All kind of fruits off of this.
All right. So
Rich brown sugar.
I'm getting cherry so hard.
Yeah.
I'm like getting maraschino cherry right there. Oh my God, I could just sit here and smell it. It's this okay, so that's an exceptional nose.
Sweet, fruity. This is almost like fruitcake. Like Christmas fruitcake.
There's a little bit of cinnamon.
Really, really good fruitcake, that's made with a little bit of alcohol.
But that is cherry, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like amaretto. It almost, you know what?
That's what I was
Wait
thinking.
a second.
Right there. That is.
Holy crap.
Amaretto.
So.
You got some amaretto up somewhere, don't you?
I do. I think I do. I think I got. Oh my God. Because I keep this, because Roxy likes amaretto. Let me see how close it is to Di Sarona. This, here we go.
Got some down in my mixer cabinet. I know.
Dude, it is amaretto. Yeah. That is.
As soon as you said that.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I can't unsmell it now. Yeah. I smelled the amaretto and I instantly, that is delicious. It's almonds and it smells like Di Sarona. It smells exactly like okay, it wins that. Okay, so that's the nose. What are we going to do? What you giving the nose? When you could smell, I don't know what, oh my God. It's like as soon as it recognized it, it became, isn't it weird how your senses work?
It became prevalent.
Because all of a sudden, once you recognize it, it actually, I mean, seriously, Nash, it almost smells like the amaretto smell. Like the amaretto's a little bit bumped up, but it's probably, this is 75% of the 100% on the Di Sarona.
Oh, this is.
I'm gonna. Oh, now the caramel.
It tastes like the amaretto.
Now the amaretto, and then the caramel separates out on the top. Okay, so what are you giving this as a nose? You know, it's funny because I watched that.
I give it a 3.
A 3?
Yeah. It's right up there. It's got a wonderful nose.
So my barrel right here, I watched the hoop's falling off because I'm pounding on it. I'm doing what that barrel guy did to get the hoops off.
Go in there. You can go in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, so you gave it a 3. I'm going to give the nose. Oh my God. I'm giving it
a Wisconsin Steakhouse amaretto flavoring.
I'm giving this because it's the nose.
Steakhouse amaretto.
I'm giving it a 4 with a bit up.
4? Oh, wow. On the nose?
But up. I can't believe I picked out the amaretto, and then when I smelled it, I mean, I love the smell of amaretto. That's cherry, almond. Oh my God.
And a little bit of vanilla.
Just think what would happen is if you made a old fashioned with a decent amount of muddled Luxardo cherries in there with this. Holy shit!
That's what I was thinking. At first, I was thinking I smelled those Luxardo cherries. If you ever smelled muddled Luxardo cherries, that thick syrup that's on it.
I mean, this is the thickest you're getting Maker's Mark right here. You can't get a more, it's a huge body. So I got a 5, you got a 3, but the body on this, the flavor goes cheeks, top of the roof of the mouth, tongue, everything. Now, I will say that if we're all I pick up is it goes caramel with a little bit of char, and then it goes. No, it's you pick up the cherry and the char, and then it goes caramel. So I would say the body,
Caramel, cherry, char, and then back to cherry.
So what are you going to give the body? Total of 4.
It's got a great body. I mean, it fills your mouth.
I'd say it's a Cindy Crawford body.
Yeah.
What you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's there. The mouth, the teeth, cheeks, the tongue.
Oh my God.
Full of flavor. I mean, it's just bold. You know?
Yeah.
Everything, all the flavors just pop. And then it's just like they come back to you. And that now I'm starting to talk about the finish though. But yeah.
I'd say I'll give it a 4 too.
4 2.
So I'm at 9, you're at 7. All right, so now we enter in the 5 category. Taste. Now, I need more. I'm sorry, Walker. It's like one of the best things I've ever tasted. Last night was even crazier. I'm buying a bottle of. Hey, Walker, do they have cellar aged there too? I don't know if Walker's still on, but if he is, are they selling it still? Because I'm buying another bottle. This is one bottle I will buy in English. All right. Let's see. What?
These guys, Walker and John, talking about this.
Look at
Walker said, "Not yet. We need 2024 now."
All right. So what are you giving it as a taste?
This is the category, right?
You can do a but up, and it's 5 is the total. You could give it up to a 6. Okay, I'll go first. I'm gonna give the taste.
I gotta give it a 5. I'm sorry.
I guess you go first.
Yeah. Since you asked me, I'm gonna jump right in there. But I've been tasting it, and the taste on this is amazing.
I love Maker's Mark.
You got the almonds, you got the cherry, you got the vanilla, you got the caramel, you got a little bit of char, you got a little bit of oakiness. And to me, very, very little ethanol comes through.
So,
it's a little bit there, I guess, because of the proof. But then it's like I taste all those flavors, and then it's like they start coming back. So Yeah, I gotta give it a 5. This is amazing. This has been sitting open for about, got this right after, I guess, right after the Kentucky, about a
Yeah.
month after the Kentucky.
Yeah,
Bourbon
you didn't get it when we were down there either.
Yeah, it was about a month after.
I wish I would have,
I told you, I tried to get everybody to wake up. Go,
Yeah, but what
we couldn't do it. We were so busy and drained.
No, we also weren't educated. Ed Bly educated us to weeded bourbon. What you got to do, you got to open it. Wheat is a delicate distillate that ingrained, and then when you basically put it through the bottling process, it is less stable than the rye that exists. So you got to like wait for it to flour almost.
Look,
yeah. So
as you can see, look, I have definitely did that.
Yeah, and this was a half bottle, and it's now 2/8. So, anyways, I'm gonna give it a.
How much are you gonna give?
I'm gonna do something. So, did I use my butt up? I don't remember. Did I?
Yeah.
I
used it.
Did
on
I?
the first one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Are you?
You gave it a 5.
Okay.
That's
so
why you were at 9.
So on this one, I'm gonna give it a 5 also. With a ba-da-bum. I'm giving it a 6.
I knew you were.
You knew I was gonna do that, because you know why I can do that?
Because you're holding the hand.
Because I'm tiny, and you're
Well,
super
no.
Nash, and you're super Nash. And if you want to hand out extra ba-da-bums, Nash, you can anytime.
I know I can, but whether you give them or not.
Are you?
Because you're holding the hammer.
Yeah, but I respect you. I seem to remember a podcast one time where this was an issue.
It was a big issue. That was hilarious.
Yes, it's
podcast number 132 and a half.
I think you were actually there for it, wasn't it? It was a holiday podcast, and
I was there.
Yeah, it was for the bourbon of the year.
Yeah,
I was I was throwing out extra shit on the rating system, and then
I had on my special ugly holiday sweater and everything.
That was fun. That was fun. All right, so I give it a 6. So let's go to the finish.
Right. And this is where it even gets better to me.
It's so cherry. It's unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe I passed over this. And then thank you, Walker, for letting me have half of a bottle. That is wonderful. Like I said, this bottle will be coming back to you.
What a great finish this is.
It's long.
To our 5th season in podcast.
To end this podcast, as we keep going, this was a perfect ending of the year that was worthy of being, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. It was something that, I got, and last night, I think Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and now it's Thursday. That's 5 days. I've had at least a little bit of it, and it's just
you have to save a little for Christmas.
I'm gonna no, that's not happening.
Well, I might have to be bringing this bottle up Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be going into the bourbon of the year. We do an annual bourbon of the year,
but this is 2023. We gotta get a hold of the 2024 for the bourbon of the year.
Oh.
This was last year's bourbon that we picked up. It was this season, but the season.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's move on. That's another.
What about the finish? Are you gonna jump me on the finish here? What's your finish?
No.
You gonna let me go?
Yes.
I will give the finish.
Okay, I'm gonna give it up.
What are you giving it?
No, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
I'll give the finish. I mean, there's nothing. It's what is it? 11 and 12-year-old bourbon. It's not over oaked. It just transforms all those flavors through. It lasts because of I think the finish is spectacular because the body is so spectacular that it just transfers into the finish, making the finish longer. It's a skill that the Samuels on this particular one, this delivered to everybody what they were talking about. Everybody knew they had this older whiskey and they never put anything out but Maker's Mark, Then they started doing the private selects and the Maker's 46 and then the cask strength. And then this is the epitome of deliciousness. So I will go with a 5 on the finish.
I totally agree for all those reasons, and just a few more is that each time you take a sip of this, and it coats your mouth, fills it with flavor, and those flavors just last. And I mean, it gives you a nice Kentucky hug, right down to here. It doesn't go all the way down to where it burns and everything, but just to the back of your throat. But it carries all those flavors back to me, and it's just wonderful. Just such a wonderful tasting bourbon. It's just fruity, cherries, the almond, vanilla, the caramel, and just that slight little bit of char, slight little bit of oakiness. I mean, that you like. It's all around just a great finish. So I'm gonna have to give it a 5 too.
No but up though?
I didn't know that we could do that on the.
You can always put a but up on any category.
But I'm 5 with a but up because this is one of the best finishes that I've had all year long. And so I want to end the podcast, end the season.
Well, so a perfect bourbon is 19 out of 18 because it's got a but up and whatever. You gave this bourbon an 18 out of 18, made up for with the but up for the nose. Myself, I gave it the first ever Scotchy Bourbon Boys 20 out of 18. We've had 19 out of 18, but there was 2 categories I felt the but up was worth it. So we gave this bourbon the first ever 19 out of 18 because we've had 19 out of 18 scores, but the other person didn't give it to it. So we were able to give this a 19 out of 18. Honestly, folks, what you definitely want to get your hands on this. The 2023 is spectacular. I'm sure the 2024 is going to be. Hopefully, Maker's Mark is dropping that when we're down there. That would be awesome because they did last year. So let's see what we can do to get that. But the way a wheated bourbon works is you want to let it sit for a while. This has sat for a while. Thank you, Walker.
And that's something that Ed Blake of Old Stubborn Whiskey, he taught us that with his releases, and it's amazing how they open up the way they do. A wheated whiskey opens up like that.
Yep.
And the flavors just start to pop and just release. And you start to taste it.
Just like with this William Dalton that we have. This is contact me if you need to. And this Lillian Sinclair, It's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Y'all reached out to me, Chris Thompson, Jeff Mueller.
We can help you out. So remember, this has been it's been a really good end of season 5.
Yes.
I didn't know. So what we had is the introduction of Super Nash's awesome new podcasting. I mean, us together in this is pretty good. I will help you with the lighting as far as the other lighting because I'm good at that.
Yeah, because this was the first night, and you know, like I say,
We're
with
good.
Jeff's help, I will become.
Well, one of the things is you can get if you get a front ring light, it will then drown out the top lighting so that you'll be able to control it. So I'll give you a
You see,
good recommendation.
I was
Yes.
trying to get rid of earlier how the whole top of my head is just like glowing bright.
Yeah, it's glowing bright.
Dye my hair like
No, you don't have to worry about that. No, that it's so bright that it looks like you have no hair.
I know.
All I see is what you would look like bald. Your hair is just kind of shining white, yellow.
No, earlier, I was looking at the same thing because there's 4 light bulbs up there, and 3 of them are now unscrewed.
Yes, but that's okay.
That's
We'll get this down, but it's spectacular. And the whiskey, everything, the review. Thank you. What a great year. Thanks to all of our
Thanks to
fans.
everybody. We couldn't have done these 5 seasons without everybody that's tuned in on YouTube and Facebook and through all our listening media. We owe it all to y'all. We do it for y'all and the whiskey, and you know.
And so John says,
honestly, all for y'all.
John says, screw a food bunker. Let's just go to if the shit hits the fan. Let's just go to Nash's bourbon bunker, and just so you know, there is some nutritional value
all
to
my
bourbon.
Friends are welcome here in the event of a nuclear meltdown.
All right, everybody. So we're gonna try this again. We did this new ending. So let's start it off. www.Scotchy Bourbon Boys for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We are about halfway to the bourbon balls, folks. So we gotta wait. We're gonna make them, but you can't ship them till it's cooler. Otherwise, they'll just melt. We got Scotchy Bourbon Boys Glencairns. We got Scotchy Bourbon Boys T-shirts. Check us out. Same thing. And same thing for any barrel picks. Contact Nash or myself or CT. All right. And then we are on all the social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. And then also on all the major podcast formats, Apple, iHeart, and Spotify. Remember,
Deezer. Don't forget Deezer.
Deezer. There you go.
That's for the young kids out there. All the young kids like to listen to Deezer.
So this is it, folks. Thanks. This ending is thanks to our newest sponsor. Remember, good bourbon equals good times and good friends.
Good friends.
Drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive, and live your life uncut and unfiltered. There we go. So
I like the new ending.
Yeah, that Walter was like, let's just do uncut, unfiltered, and I'm just like, I'm for it. That is it.
Unfiltered.
So little Steve-O.
The new sound for season 6.
Yep.
Y'all tune in for season 6. It'll be starting up about 10 or 12 days from now.
No, actually, the first Whiskey Thief will be Tuesday, but that won't be live.
I'm talking about season 6 live.
Whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way.
What happened?
What did you touch?
Let's try that again.
Start again.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why.
That's weird.
For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right.
So that was, I have no idea what that was. That's weird. All right. I stopped the recording.
You too, John. Thanks for tuning in, brother.
All right. Let me do this real quick. Audio magic. Boom. My freaked out. So when that hit where it's restopped, you know, so did the. That's all right. We got it in. All right. File.
I got Stag 24A. I think my little brother drank most of it when we were in Louisville here a couple of weeks back for the car show.
I don't have that.
You don't have the Stag 24A?
No. I got the first batch of Stag. I got 3 bottles of Stag right now. It's like I have enough Stag.
Yeah, John, I picked up that Stag on the way up to the car show, and my little brother, he don't drink beer or anything else, and we opened that up. Our older brother was driving, and so he started sipping on Kentucky, and he sipped on it all weekend up there. And oh my gosh, he loved it. Which I hit it a few times, but I've got what's left of the bottle, and I think it's probably about a third of the bottle left.
All right, I'm going to cut us off YouTube right now. I'll keep us on Facebook. Thanks, everybody, for watching on YouTube. Let's hope that YouTube. Screwed that one.
In fact, there it is, John. About a third of the bottle left.